twin sons of Thesara 9 beat down mercilessly as Darren Cole made his way through the violet undergrowth of the alien jungle. As a wilderness ranger stationed on this remote world, he'd seen plenty of the planet's exotic wildlife, but today something felt different. The usual chittering of tree-dwelling creatures had gone silent, replaced by an eerie stillness that made the hair on his neck stand up. Darren paused at the edge of a rushing river, its waters swollen from the recent storms. That's when he heard it, a desperate guttural sound that was part growl, part plea. His eyes scanned the churning rapids until he spotted the source. A massive creature thrashing in the water, its sleek, spotted body being pulled under by the current. It was a Vareth, one of the apex predators native to Thesara 9. The creature resembled an earth leopard, but was easily 3 times the size, with bioluminescent spots that pulsed with distress. 6 powerful legs clawed uselessly at the water as the current dragged it toward a deadly waterfall downstream. Every instinct screamed at Darren to back away. Vareth were notoriously aggressive, capable of tearing through reinforced steel with their retractable claws. The colony's safety protocols explicitly warned against approaching them. But as Darren watched the magnificent creature struggle, something in its eyes, a flash of intelligence, of awareness, made him act. He sprinted along the riverbank, his boots sliding on the slick moss. The Vareth was seconds from going over the falls. Without thinking, Darren grabbed his emergency cable launcher and fired it at a thick tree root protruding from the opposite bank. The magnetic anchor locked instantly. He wrapped the line around his waist and dove into the frigid water. The current hit him like a freight train, but Darren's military training kicked in. He swam with powerful strokes toward the drowning alien. The Vareth saw him coming and released a warning snarl, but its movements were growing weaker. Darren reached out and grabbed hold of the creature's thick ruff, feeling muscles like corded steel beneath the wet fur. "Easy, big guy," Darren gasped, fighting to keep both their heads above water. "I'm trying to help." The Vareth could have killed him with a single swipe, but instead it went still, as if understanding his intent. Darren activated the cable's retraction mechanism, and slowly, agonizingly, they were pulled toward the shore. The creature's weight was tremendous, and Darren's shoulders screamed in protest, but he refused to let go. Finally, they reached the muddy bank. The Vareth collapsed, its flanks heaving with exhaustion. Darren lay beside it, catching his breath, half expecting the animal to turn on him now that the immediate danger had passed. Instead, the creature lifted its massive head and fixed him with golden, intelligent eyes. Then it did something that made Darren freeze. It stood, shook the water from its fur, and began walking back toward the river. "Wait, what are you?" Darren started, but the Vareth turned and looked at him pointedly. It wanted him to follow. Against his better judgment, Darren pushed himself to his feet and trailed after the alien leopard. It led him to a cluster of rocks near where it had been drowning. The Vareth used its massive paws to carefully move aside several stones, revealing a small hollow underneath. Darren's breath caught in his throat. There, huddled in the makeshift den, were 3 tiny cubs, but not Vareth cubs. These were human children. His blood ran cold. 2 young girls, maybe 5 and 7 years old, and a boy who couldn't be more than 3, all clinging to each other and staring up at him with wide, terrified eyes. They wore the tattered remains of colony clothing. "Oh God," Darren whispered, his mind racing. These were the Morrison kids, missing for 3 days after a transport crash in the jungle. The entire colony had been searching for them. Everyone assumed they'd been killed by predators, but they hadn't been killed. They'd been protected. The adult Vareth, the mother, Darren realized, had been guarding them. She must have found them after the crash and, instead of seeing them as prey, had recognized them as young in need of protection. The maternal instinct had transcended species. She'd been hunting for them, sheltering them, keeping them safe. And when the river flooded, threatening to wash away her den, she'd tried to build a barrier. That's how she'd gotten swept away. "You were trying to save them," Darren said, looking at the Vareth with new eyes. "You've been protecting them this whole time." The mother Vareth moved to her adoptive cubs, and to Darren's amazement, the children didn't flinch. The oldest girl even reached out to touch the creature's spotted flank. "She kept us warm," the girl said softly. "She brought us food. We were so scared, but she stayed with us." Darren's throat tightened. He activated his comm unit, hands shaking. "Ranger Cole to colony base. I found the Morrison children. They're alive and unharmed. Sending coordinates now." He paused, looking at the Vareth, who watched him with those unnervingly intelligent eyes. And I'm going to need the xenobiology team. We have a lot to learn about the indigenous species. As he waited for the rescue team, Darren sat with the children and their unlikely guardian. The Vareth settled beside them, her bioluminescent spots pulsing with a gentle, calming rhythm. In that moment, Darren understood something profound. Compassion wasn't uniquely human. It was universal, transcending species, language, and biology. He'd come to this alien world thinking humans were the civilized ones, bringing order to a savage wilderness. But today, a savage predator had taught him the true meaning of humanity.